Are you suffering from a yeast infection right now? Maybe you're one of those many thousands of unlucky people out there who are plagued by recurrent yeast infections. Relief at last. A permanent cure for yeast infections is revealed. A natural, safe, and drug-free solution for both men and women is here. My name is Linda Brown, and for many years I was a sufferer of yeast infections myself. I tried everything to get rid of the problem. I was back and forth to the doctor all the time, and I spent hundreds of dollars on prescriptions and over-the-counter solutions. Nothing seemed to work, and I was reaching the end of the line. Rather than letting yeast infections ruin my life, I successfully completed a scientific research project that led me to the root of the problem and developed a method from which I was able to cure myself. The good news is that my method's now available to everyone thanks to Yeast Infection Secrets. Read it now and follow my method, and you too will be free from yeast infections permanently. One of the best things about my method is that it works for all types of yeast infections, which include vaginal yeast infections in men, oral yeast infections. A life free from yeast infections, what Yeast Infection Secrets reveal. My findings are based on science, and here are just a few of my key findings. Yeast infections can be defeated in all cases. Pessaries can be dangerous. Drugs are unnecessary and potentially harmful. You cannot rely on probiotics alone to defeat yeast infections. Yeast Infection Secrets shows a way forward for a life free from yeast infections. Here is just some of what Yeast Infection Secrets reveal. The step-by-step guide to immediate yeast infection relief. The essential checklist for a life free from yeast infections. Essential probiotics for a life free from yeast infections. The superfoods to keep yeast infections away. The single supplement to change the life of every yeast infection sufferer. Change your environment for a life without yeast infections. The effective cure to beat oral yeast infections. Enjoy a life without yeast infections today by applying the methods revealed inside Yeast Infection Secrets now.